this is usually a company, they don't have anyone managing their website, no one
Mhm.
helping whatsoever. And we get logged in and there's like 35 updates pending.
Mhm.
And it's obvious that no one's logged into this site in 2 to 3
Mhm.
years, right? So we see that. And then the last one, which is the most frustrating one to me with the background that I have, is we log into a site, and this site is a site that the company is paying five. Can you guys still hear me? I feel like I cut out
Mhm.
there for a
Yep.
second. Okay.
We're listening.
Where the roofing company is paying an agency or a consultant monthly $500, $700, $1,000 a month to manage their website, and you log in and there's still 35 updates pending, and it's still obvious that no one's logged into this site in 2 years, despite the fact that they're paying monthly for this service.
Mhm.
What is your, like, keeping all that in mind, what is your advice to roofing companies just when it comes to website maintenance? Like, what
Mm.
is website maintenance? Why is it important? And how do
Yeah.
you avoid getting kind of screwed over and just draining money for someone to do nothing?
Yeah. Website maintenance, like you're saying, is kind of you make sure that you're updating plugins on a regular basis. If you don't update plugins, for instance, on a lot of websites, one day you'll just try to go to your website and it'll just be like the white screen of death or whatever on WordPress people. So those things happen. And so we're just trying to avoid it. And like the other thing is security. So if you don't kind of make these updates regularly, if there's not something going on there, then sometimes you can get hacked. And I'm not going to lie, that hurts really bad. And I've been hacked and we've had clients hacked, right? Like, and it's a little bit more common. I'm not going to say we've never had somebody that was on maintenance or something like that get hacked because it's still possible, but it's just more likely if everything's out of date. You know what I mean? Like if you're not regularly maintaining a website because the technology advances. Like even if all your plugins just automatically updated, which some hosts do that, WP Engine is one. It's just sometimes there's little nuances that you have to get through, but there's also the um, with the PHP updates, and I like sorry to go technical for a second, but PHP is like the language, one of the languages that WordPress website coding languages that WordPress is built on. And they update it like the internet updates like to the point where over years, especially when you're talking about like 3 5 years plus. And that's kind of my recommendation as far as like a rhythm on to actually redesign your website. So this year, Hook is getting to 3 year period for our website. So we're going to probably update it. I think 5 years for a roofing company makes a lot of sense. I'm not trying to be like wild or anything like that. But even ours, there's so much technically going on that like the back end, like the speed and stuff like that, it starts to like kind of creep down because you're adding like a new tool, right? You're adding some other new tool or whatever. Nothing wrong with that. But like if you add 20 new plugins and it just kind of gets bloated or like that's why every once in a while you should just kind of like build it fresh. And the code base is fresh. I think that that's good. I'll say 5 years. I know everyone's going to be annoyed with even that, the 5 years thing. For us, we do that every 3 years. And I've got things on my site like with page speed that have been like we have a lot of videos, we have a lot of images that get kind of like run down. The other thing is tweaking like caching. So like WP Fastest Cache is an example of a WordPress caching plugin. I think like even just going in and testing your site speed every once in a while, and then like tweaking your settings on your fastest cache or your other caching plugins, it's really over time sites get slower and they just get a little bit more rundown. So that's where it's like taking the time to actually do that stuff can help you not get hacked, make sure that the site is not slow. And then ultimately, the other thing is content, right? AJ, like if you've got new team members and you've got a team member section, or you've got just make sure stuff is working. It's like it's images and text and stuff like that, just to make sure it's accurate, right? You want to make sure it's accurate currently to what your company's doing. And I think even after a year or two, you should be updating content just to make sure that everything's solid. I recommend that everyone logs into their website at least every couple months and just make sure everything's accurate. Um, and no one is going to care about. It's just a little bit more complex because John's a current client of ours, and I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm going to challenge the audience. John, you just don't think about whether I'm talking to you or not. Like, this is to anyone who has an agency. Like, no one cares about your marketing as much as you do. No offense. No matter how much money you're giving them, you care more about your marketing than anyone outside of the company. And it should be that way. You should care. So even if you have a company, looking at stuff, making sure it's fresh, making sure it feels accurate to what your company is doing, and caring, letting yourself care as much as you do, and making sure that like it's freshened up occasionally. Like, you should freshen it up. You should consider what could be better and freshen it up, because no agency, and like literally there's so many agencies worse than Hook Agency, and we're imperfect too, right?